the start of the Orillia rail trail, and regular viewers to my channel may recall me riding on this about a year ago. It actually forms the bottom part of the Simcoe County Loop Trail, which is the route that I'm going to be doing today, actually today and tomorrow. It's a 160 kilometer trail, so I'm going to take 2 days to ride it, and so far the weather is just amazing. I'm very lucky indeed. So that's a first, a barbed wire fence around a farmer's field. There's no prizes for guessing what they're growing there. I can actually smell that it's marijuana, but I'm sure you probably guessed that already. And yeah, I'm surprised it actually doesn't really smell that strong. Must be the good fresh air all around it, I guess. So we've left the Orillia trail well behind us, and we've gone through Orillia and along the lakeshore, and now we're just beginning to head away from Orillia northbound along the Simcoe Loop Trail, and it's really well signposted at the moment. Plus I have the route on my phone. So far there are no tricky bits, at least as far as following the route is concerned. So I've just come from that way, which is Orillia, and although we're still on the Simcoe Loop Trail, this specific section is called the Utoff Trail, and I apologise for, I'm sure I butchered that name. And we've come from down here, Orillia, and the trail, which went along the waterfront, is now going all the way up to Coldwater, and then it finishes in Wabashine. I'm going to stop here for a few minutes and just have a drink and something to eat, and then I'll be on my way. been blowing in my face for the last 3 hours. I was wondering why it felt so difficult. So we're just leaving Warbasheen and we're on yet another new trail. This is the Tay Shore Trail, and this should take us all the way to the overnight stop. The more observant of you will have realised that I am not in a tent. Yeah, things conspired. That was my plan, but things conspired to kind of make that not viable. Firstly, I rode straight past the turn-off from the trail that would have led to the campsite, but you actually couldn't get to the road that led to the campsite. So I headed back, and then I went up this little trail for about 1 kilometre, and then eventually that petered out, so then I went back the other way and I looked at this main road which I could have ridden along, and that would have taken me to the road that leads to the campsite. But after a day on the trail, I really didn't fancy doing that, so in the end, having probably added another 10 kilometres of going back and forth, I said, you know what, I'm going to go to a hotel. I am going to have a dehydrated meal, and I'm going to cook it on a camp stove, and I'm going to use my camping bowls and cutlery, and that'll be my little nod to the whole notion of camping. So I'm back on the trail again after what was an incredible sleep in the hotel last night. I'm sure if I had been camping I would have slept pretty well as well, because I was just so exhausted after yesterday's ride. And we're just leaving Midland behind and heading on up to Penatanguishene. It's pretty cool this morning, but I don't think the jacket will be staying on for long. Just a short connecting trail to get us up to Penatanguishene. We're in the Penatanguishene and we've only done about 9 kilometers so far this morning, but it has been absolutely brutal. Firstly, I took a slightly wrong direction and went up a really steep little climb, and then I eventually got back onto the I think it's called the Penn Mid Trail, and that was all just little up and down climbing. So anyway, I'm back on trails now, and the first one goes along by the lakeshore, so that should be flat, and then I'm going to be hitting the tiny trail, it's called, and that heads southwards back towards Barrie. About an hour, just a little bit over an hour so far today, and I still don't quite have my legs yet, but if it carries on like this then I'll be just fine. This is a lovely little trail We're heading approximately west, and that way to our north is Lake Huron, so we're more or less following along the shores of Lake Huron, and there's lots of little risers, just gently rolling dips and rises as you cross what must be dozens of little rivers or little tributaries from one river. This is such a well-maintained and inviting trailhead. So this is the tiny rail trail. I'm heading south. The significant thing about that is it's south towards Barrie, so I feel like I'm really making progress now. And it's another beautiful trail, and it's really well maintained. This is Wyvale. I think it's like a blink and you'll miss it type of town, and we've been riding along by this fairly busy road for the last few kilometers. And while the trail is still really nice, I guess I'm being a bit of a whiner, wishing that there wasn't so much noise over my right shoulder. Well, that'll teach me for complaining about riding along beside a road. Now, somehow, I'm sandwiched between two roads, so I've got traffic on both sides. Oh well, the trail is still fantastic, so it more than makes up for it. So I haven't been keeping count, but here's another new trail, the North Simcoe Rail Trail, and it looks pretty much like the others. So a lot of riding on this trail has been, as many trails are, amidst the trees, but then every now and again you kind of pop out and you get these nice panoramic views of farmland. And although there are a lot of clouds in the sky, I haven't felt any rain yet, and it's not too cool. The trail is nice and fast here, but north of Horseshoe Valley Road there were quite a few sections that were fairly sandy and pretty deep sand as well. So while they didn't last for very long, they were enough that you have to really keep your wits about you. Keeping my voice down because there was a sign at the one end of this part of the trail that said that logging is going on and you're not allowed in here, but it was really only the first bit where you could see any evidence of logging, and that certainly isn't happening today. And with 164 kilometers done of the trail, I really didn't fancy doing a massive detour. So hopefully, if you're going to be doing this trail, by the time you come here, this part will be open again and you won't have to feel as though you're being sneaky. Just enjoying some downhill.
So that is the route complete. We are back in Barrie on the lakeshore. It's around 174 kilometers that I've ridden with my detours included in that, some of them intentional and some not quite so intentional. And what a fantastic route it is. It's really varied. I mean, there's marshland, there's the lakeshore bays up near Penatanguishene and around Orillia and Midland, and there's broad sweeping farmland and miles and miles and miles of these tree tunnels, which I always really enjoy riding through as well. So if you've got 2 days to spare, you can have a nice challenging but comfortable ride. If you've got 3 days to spare, then you know that's real leisure time. You can really relax and enjoy the route. And if you've only got 1 day to spare and you're really up for a challenge, well, good luck to you. Anyway, I do hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've had, please remember to like and subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so you're notified of any upcoming videos. And I shall see you on the next ride.